What's up? What's up? What's up? Happy Tuesday. Welcome to a new mini episode of Unspoken Truth Podcast. I'm your host, Denise. Hi, what's up? How you doing? If you've never experienced an episode of my podcast, welcome. If you're a return viewer, I appreciate your support. So today, this is a mini episode, and this kind of gets the week going for Friday's episode, which is more of a lengthier episode. But today's topic is hyper independence. Ooh, child. um, when I do episodes like this, in particular, um, I like to give us a base definition, okay? So we can stay on task. All right, cousin, welcome, welcome. So today's topic is hyper independence. Okay, so let me just give you a definition real quick, and we are going to kick this boy off. Okay, so hyper independence is an extreme trauma and informed coping mechanism characterized by a refusal to ask for or accept help, rooted in a deep seated need for total self reliance and control. Whew, I know that was a lot, but let me just sum it up. People who have a hard time asking for help, accepting help, feeling like they worthy or deserving of help. I actually wanted to talk about this myself because over the last few years, I've learned that about myself. Okay. I don't think that I actually learned that until I started hearing it from my kids. My son, in particular, shout out to him, one day was like, Mom, you be needing help and won't say nothing. And I think that was the first time, although people probably have said it to me in the past or, mentioned it before, I think that was the first time I actually heard what he said. Okay. So what I started doing is paying attention to myself. I know for some people that may sound crazy or weird or abnormal, but I started watching myself so that I could try to identify some of the characteristics that cause me to be hyperly independent. Okay. For starters, I think that I was taught growing up that that's a sign of a strong woman. I later realized that, hey, just because you strong don't mean you want to be. Okay. And that also signals some kind of connection still with survival mode. Now, for those who don't know me, I've spent more than 20 something years of my life in survival mode, raising kids, trying to work on myself, the whole nine, just trying to figure it out. Okay. Um, I think that my hyper independence came from me in the past asking for help and being totally rejected or dismissed by whoever I was asking for the help from, if that makes any sense. And so I believe over time, like the definition said, I just built this defense mechanism. I just created this thing for myself where if I ask and you don't act like it's a thing or a matter, then I'll just get it done on my own, And I think over time that has created a wall, okay, that hasn't allowed me to let people in my space fully, if that makes any sense. It has not allowed me to be vulnerable in times where maybe that was warranted, or maybe that's the space I should have been in, but I just wasn't, you know. When you living in survival mode, first of all, fight or flight mode, when you living in that space, a lot of stuff don't exist. Okay. And I'm speaking from experience. I'm always talk about myself before I choose to discuss anybody else. Okay. When you in that space, don't nothing else exists. I'm not saying it's not present or that it's not accessible or that you don't want it. It's the fight or flight survival mode has completely hijacked the plane. The plane is you, okay? It has completely taken over. Your thoughts, your movement, your motion, your mental and emotional well-being. It has hijacked all of that, okay? And I know that because it's the flight mode that I've been on for over 20 years. And so I made it look so good. I dressed it up so well that most people, they just assume, oh yeah, she's strong, she got it. But what that started to do to me internally is it started making me resent people. It started making me angry with people and life. And I started having a spell of bitterness towards people. Because it's like, you asking me what's going on with me, or you asking me if there's anything you could do or help me with, and then when I finally open up and start telling you, hey, this is what I'm dealing with, this is what I need help with, it really didn't matter, because it was like you just asked so you could be nosy. Okay, it's how I started to feel about people. You really don't care what I'm going through, nor are you going to do anything within your power to fix it. So what's the point of you asking me if I need help? I think that hardened me, that hardened me to the world, which I don't recommend. Okay, that's not a good thing for you to be hardened by life and the people in it. But I'm just talking from experience. Um, it's a lot of people out here in my city that know me. They watch me literally do what's required for my kids, but neglect myself. And that was a mistake that I probably wish that I wouldn't have made. Because when you a parent, you not only gotta focus and worry and decide and do things for this other party, but you also need that same thing for yourself. You know how they say, well, the kids need a village, the adults do too. Okay. Um, I wasn't utilizing, I wasn't um using, if you will, the village that I had around me. I was just like, yeah, no, I'll get it done. I got it. I don't need no help. I'm a one woman army. I got this. Over time that started to be my attitude. Where it's like, I'm cool, I ain't gonna even bother. Because most of the times that I would, you know, reach out for help or ask for help or tell somebody what I'm going through or what I need, it it wouldn't matter. They wasn't about to help. I mean, I really started to resent people where it's like, what is the purpose of you asking me what I want or what I need from you right now if you not even gonna help nowhere? You're not gonna be a listening ear, not for you to just be there. You a listening ear so you can have something to discuss later. You're not gonna utilize none of your resources. Even though you got some, you ain't gonna help me with my situation and my circumstance using those resources. So it's like, what is the real motive behind it? And I started to realize, like, shoot, people just they just want to be in your business. They just want to be nosy. They really don't care what you're going through. It's not a thing for them. It's like, oh, okay, that's their problem. That's their situation. That's their circumstance. And over time, I just started feeling like people who be like, yeah, she's strong. Somehow that translated to them that I didn't need no help. And I think that's when I realized how deep I was with this wall I had created of, I don't need no help. I'm cool. I can do it on my own. And that sabotaged a lot of relationships. connections with people. Because again, I'm a person who I believe moves with urgency when it's stuff that need to be done. For example, perhaps the oven might need to be clean, and I'm just using this as an example. Yes, there's other people in the household that could very well do the job. They've watched me do it multiple times, but I've developed this thing that I'll just do it because you're not gonna do it to the magnitude that I would do it. That's a problem, a major one. Okay, because what happens is that translates to the people on the outside looking in that it's no point in them being around, being present, trying to help you because you've already signaled or waved the flag that I'm good, I don't need your help. And some people will get ticked off when you display that type of characteristics with them. They'll be pissed off because to some people it seems like disrespectful. You get what I'm saying? That I'm offering you some help and you would just dismiss me, or you would just ignore me, or act like I'm not even offering you nothing. I've dealt with that scenario a couple of times in life. But the most important part that I discovered, like I said, it started helping me analyze and pay attention more to me because I had spent so much time raising my kids and focusing on them and trying to build a life that they could grow and thrive from. I neglected myself in the process. And I believe that is very well what created this wall where it's like, I don't need your help. When my body and everything about me is screaming, I need help. Okay. Um, Coming from a person who lacked showing emotion to other people or letting them see the raw side or version of me, has definitely helped enable this characteristic of I could do bad by myself. You know that little saying, I don't need no help. I'm cool. Ain't nobody got to do nothing for me. Knowing that deep down inside, I need help, and part of me just would not allow the help, even from my kids. It's like, no, I got it. I'm just now getting in the space where I'm letting them do stuff, and they grown. At least the ones that's still at home, they grown, and I still will find myself having to catch myself like, no, no, no. If you keep on doing everything, then what do they learn how to do? And so essentially, because I've created this defense mechanism for myself to protect myself from rejection or dismissal or lack of support, me not allowing my kids to do things on their own or for themselves is directly creating the same thing for them. When my son told me, "Ma, you know you need help and you still won't say nothing." When he said that to me that day, I don't know, a light bulb went off. And I was like, Dad, I guess I really don't let y'all help me. I guess I really feel like I don't need the help. When every part of me can feel that. As a woman, we carry and do a lot. I'm not taking nothing away from no man because I can only speak for myself as a woman. But we take on a lot. We carry a lot. We do too much sometimes. And I am a perfect example right here, what you see today, of doing too much, overplaying my part, showing up for people that I know wouldn't even bat their eyes for me, you know. And I just started creating excuses where, oh, I just got a big heart, or that's just the way I am, without realizing that I was still allowing myself to be played and used by people who really didn't need the help. That wasn't the reason why they was around. They wasn't around to offer me no help. They was only around to siphon because remember, I'm always telling you about vultures and people who show up in your life as ciphers. They just want your energy. They want to catch a vibe. They not there to help you move forward or elevate in life or add value or nothing. That's not why they're around. And this is why some of these characteristics and behaviors that some of us possess don't benefit us. They don't help us in the long run, short run. They don't help us. What they do is allow us to stay in what I like to call a struggle love mode, where you would rather struggle than to actually thrive and grow. You would rather struggle. And that makes me sad when I think about it, because there has been so many times where just the stubborn part of me just would not allow the help. And I knew I needed it. I knew that my kids needed it. But more importantly, I knew I needed it. And I still was like, yeah, no. Because I'm not going to allow myself to even reach out and ask nobody for no help, because I already know that they're going to disappoint me. They're going to let me down. They're not going to show up. And so essentially what that is self-sabotage. And I did it for decades. Okay. And again, I masked it so well that most people would look at me and be like, well, she cool. She appears to have it together to me. But that was because I had learned how to dress it up. I had learned how to fake it. Yeah. That's the best way to say it. I was faking it. It looked good on the outside. It didn't look like it was much going on, but on the inside, it was a lot going on. And I didn't know how to manage. I didn't know what to do with my feelings, with my thoughts, with my experiences. It was all present, but I didn't know how or where to start with sifting through everything that I was dealing with, processing, registering, healing, growing. I I honestly don't think I cared enough to even try at that point. It wasn't until a few years ago where I was like, I'm tired of doing the same old thing. And then getting frustrated with myself when stuff don't work. Sometimes we get in our own way, and that's why it don't work. And I mean, I guess at that point in my life, I was oblivious to it. I didn't want to accept the fact that I was the cause of whatever it was that I was struggling with. It wasn't nobody else. It was me. It was me not allowing myself to learn something new, or just allow somebody to take some of the pressure off. Um, what that did to me on a physical level. I mean, as you can see, I mean, I I don't sit. My posture is off. Okay. Um, from, I believe, taking on too much, carrying too much, doing too much, and not letting nobody help me. You know, that caused me to store a lot of my trauma and emotional pain in my shoulders and my back and my neck. Um, I've even had some sciatic pains over the years, and I believe that they all rooted and connected in trauma. Okay, I'm just letting you know that whatever it is that you don't deal with in life, your emotions, your mental, it will find a place within your body, your anatomy, to be stored. I know I know a lot of us didn't get taught that. Nobody explained to us whatever you don't deal with will reside in your body. But it's the truth. I've allowed myself to carry and take on so much for so long that, I mean, when I finally had my first massage ever in life, I had so many knots in my shoulder blades, in my neck, and just in my back, period, that the masseuse was like, yeah, I can tell that you've been through something. And it's crazy how the body, the posture, your anatomy as a whole could signal red flags to people who don't even really know you. They just in your company. They just in your presence. And they watching your body language and the way you carry yourself and the things that you say. And it's a dead giveaway for this person that been through something. And you really never know what somebody going through for real until you take the time to listen, to talk to people. I'm a strong believer that majority of people is that's all they really searching for is for somebody to listen. Maybe they haven't had a decent conversation with somebody who's willing to put themselves aside long enough to hear somebody else out. Maybe it's been a long time since they had that kind of encounter with somebody. And then you show up somewhere, y'all cross paths on the street or something, and they get a chance to get it out. They story, what they've been through, some of the things they learned. They get a chance to share their wisdom. You learn from them people. I've always been a person who I'd rather be around a bunch of elders, to be honest, because the things that I can get from them, I can't get from the people my age or younger. At least that's how I feel. But now I think that that's changing. Life is changing. The world is evolving. Now we got younger people who are just as wise as the elders. Yet they don't get the same recognition or respect because of their age. And I think that's unfortunate because information and wisdom has no age cap or number on it. So if you have the opportunity to get around somebody that genuinely care about you to help you with no conditions, because I also believe that that was a factor as to how I became this, how that is even a thing for me in life. Um, is I think connecting with people who what's the word I'm looking for? They overpromised and under delivered. And when you do that to people, it's sabotaging. It's to cause chaos and confusion within somebody's world when you could have just not said nothing at all. You could have just stayed to yourself. You didn't even have to say nothing to this person or pretend or put on the front or none. Why? Because what that does is that helps create and contribute to the hyper independence of people when they realize like I couldn't trust you if I really needed you for real. Like if my life depended on it, I couldn't trust you. And that's sad that we have gotten to a space as human beings where we just don't even have the common decency for another human being. It's always got to be conditional. It's well, I'm only doing it because of this. Well, I only said something or offered you the help or a lending hand because I'm trying to get that from you. It makes things difficult. It absolutely creates a web of untrustworthiness. That's the word I'm gonna say. You can't trust people, and that's been a factor in my life for a long time. I'm getting better, with allowing my intuition, that little voice discernment to help me be able to navigate when it come to people. who possibly don't have my best interests at heart and who do. You absolutely gonna need that. But I would say the most important thing that I'm walking away with, knowing now about myself, is I don't have to be independent, hyper independent. I can let somebody take on some of my stuff. You know, it's okay. It's only if they want to. It's no conditions involved, because when I genuinely deal with people, I genuinely deal with them. It's not no, oh, well, I was only showing up or wanted to be connected to you or know you or have a conversation or be in your life because I wanted something conditional from you. No. When I show up for you, I show up for you so I can genuinely be there for you. It's not because I'm trying to get over or get something from you. No. Nope. It ain't never been my character. But I learned now that, yes, because I've created this wall built off of hyper independence, it has not allowed me to, um, one, heal. Okay. So this is a space where I still got work to do. I need to heal from some things, some letdowns, some disappointments, some connections where a person just didn't do me right. Okay. That's got to be healed. That's got to be acknowledged. That's got to be taken care of. Okay. I also feel like that hyper independence is present because the inner child and me still don't feel safe. Perhaps I don't trust myself, but to a certain extent. And so that's going to be a problem when it comes to growth and elevation and healing. If I don't do the work that's going to be required for me to be less hyper independent. It also is going to affect my relationships with intimate relationships with significant others and dating and things of that nature. Um, I know for a fact if a man does not feel like he's needed in your life, why would he be present? And so I can see how I've sabotaged a lot of potential relationships because of my hyper independence. So much so where it's like I may have only had maybe one or two people in my life ever where they just did it. I mean, they knew what was going on. Didn't need to explain too much. They just did. And that's what I mean by genuinely showing up and loving and supporting somebody without a condition. They just did. They knew that I needed them to do it. So they just did it. I'm not saying that that's something that you going to come across often, because I don't believe that you can meet people that's like that often. That's yeah. That may be once or twice in a lifetime, maybe, where you actually meet or run across somebody who just gets you. They just get it, you know. And it doesn't require a lot of explanation. It doesn't require for them to sit back and watch you struggle or go through something and not step in or at least assist. Let me say that, assist, because I don't want it to come across like you need to be fixed by somebody. No, you just need to be supported through it. That's all. You don't need nobody to fix on you. You're not a robot. Do you have some mechanical things about yourself? Sure, but you don't need nobody to work on you like that. You need somebody to support you through whatever it is that you're struggling with. I thank my son, for bringing that to my attention. So now I have awareness. I also have acknowledgement. And now I have accountability for why this exists in my life. Why it's a thing, what I could do about it. What's some things I could critique and change and heal and work on and grow from. Because that's what this life is all about, growth, lessons. Getting whatever it is that you need so you can apply it to wherever you at in life. Yeah. So I hope that this little mini episode helped somebody. And if you didn't quite get a chance to catch the full episode, make sure that you check me out on all my platforms. Follow me. Keep in touch. Subscribe. Like. Share. Friday's episode is going to be amazing. If you have not seen the video that I posted yesterday in response to Friday's topic, go watch it so you'll be ready and have full understanding of what we're going to be talking about. Okay. I appreciate y'all. For everybody who did tapped in, chimed in, commented, keep up with me on a regular basis. I appreciate y'all, man. I love y'all. It's been a rough couple of weeks, but I'm still here. And y'all continue to just keep me and my family in y'all prayers. Because this is the grieving process is sometimes tough. It's sometimes hard. It's sometimes difficult. And we are now in that phase. Okay. So I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I will see y'all back here on Friday at 8 p.m. for a new episode of Unspoken Truth Podcast. Until then, I'm your host, Tanise. I'm out of here, man.